who's next? Yeah, who's next? Who'll ride a greyhound all night long? Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. This podcast exists because we want you to win. We want you to be educated. We want you to be motivated. We want you to be inspired to be the best artist that you can be. And we think you all can make a living doing it. That's why we called the show The C.L.I.M.B, C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business. Brilliant. That's our wordsmith. Our wordsmith is my co-host, who I would like to introduce you to, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent is an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. He also helps songwriters turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. And you can find Brent at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. Basically, they help you find your sound and they help you find your audience. Two things you might just be able to use. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating that all-important cash flow. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S, because there is only one Johnny D.
Thank the Lord for that. How are you, brother?
Every day and twice on Sunday.
We can't handle more than one. I can't handle more than one. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Just enjoying the fact that my life now has a silverware drawer that has nothing but chopsticks in one little pocket of it.
Isn't that amazing how it quickly changes?
It's amazing. Used to just be forks, butter knives, spoons, big spoons. Yeah. Now we've added
chopstick.
One for chopsticks.
Now, just real quick, does Ruby Jean and Ozzy
are they down with the chopsticks? Are they chopping with the sticks?
Are they down with the chopsticks?
No, they've tried. Actually, Ruby's all right with them, and she just turned 3. Oh. Like, we were impressed. She was getting some rice up to her face with them the other day. We're like, that's awesome.
That's a cool kind of thing to know. Like, you want to go out and eat some sushi later on and stuff. Like, learning how to do that with chopsticks is cool.
And I do want to go out and eat some sushi. Yeah.
Well, let's get right into today. This is, one of those check you into the glass kind of episodes on the marketing side from yours truly. Mm-hmm. The title of this episode is Sorry, Your Awesome Songs Have No Value.
Mom, is that you?
No, because your mom always believes everything.
My mom always believes in me. Yeah. No, Johnny, thank you for being as offensive as possible in your titling of this episode. Thank you very much. And, I guess we'll be seeing y'all later. Adios. It's been fun.
That's right. Your songs have no value. It's true. Not yet. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. That's a 3-letter word that's important.
Do I have your attention? Here's the deal. I talk marketing all day long. My company deals in marketing. While we help artists on the creative side with writers and production, the biggest growing part of Daredevil Production is the marketing side. And that's because we understand one very intrinsic thing is that, most artists make the same mistake in believing that their music has value simply because they value it. Mm-hmm. Whether it's good or not, right?
Right.
And some art can be obviously art is subjective, but some art can be objective. Like there's just some crappy songs. There's just some crappy paintings. There's just some stupid statues, that are just atrocious. But just because the artist thinks that they're good doesn't mean that they're good. You have to create the value in the marketplace. And by the way, there's some really, you could say, if you come from a snobbery point of view, some poor art that seems to have a lot of value, right? We all have that one or two bands that we just can't believe are on the radio that are multimillionaires because it's so trite, it's so ridiculous. But so here's the key: it's the reality is that there's exactly zero perceived value in the marketplace for any art until the value is created.
Well, let's put it this way. Just go to iTunes, start scrolling through random rabbit hole, and are you just like, oh my goodness, there are all these songs I've never heard before. This is awesome, and they're only 99 cents or $1.39 or whatever they are.
I can't believe I'm gonna buy them all.
Oh my gosh, I gotta get them all. They're so valuable. No, you're like, whatever. Next, I'll look at them more to go through. I don't care. Okay.
See, so I think the marketing signals get crossed, Brent, like with artists when they inadvertently compare their art, which they think is valuable, to a product that actually has a definite market value before it's even made. Right? Mm-hmm. So let me put it this way. Marketing requires reach and frequency. You have to be able to reach a bunch of people, and they have to hear that message. The frequency means they got to hear it over and over and over again before it sinks in, right? We know this about a hit song, right? It takes 7 or 8 times that each individual person has to hear it before it becomes a subconsciously recognizable, I think is the term, okay? Mm-hmm. So that requires an interruption of sorts, right? Maybe you're waiting for that, in 1993, you're waiting for that new Reba McEntire hit that you're just dying to hear because you love Reba McEntire. She's a big, huge star.
Oh, here's that One Chance Fancy, Don't You Let Me Down.
There you go. And then here's this interruption with this new artist called, Where's the Holiday? Where's the Holiday Inn at?
Or what room is the Holiday Inn?
Yeah, what room is the Holiday Inn? That's it. That was this new guy. He's never going to amount to anything. Tim McGraw's first song. What room is the Holiday Inn? That. Yeah, I don't even know because it was the first record, not the second record, which is the one that had Chalktown Nation or
Indian Outlaw.
Yeah, and also Don't Take the Girl. Indian Outlaw is on the second record, but. And so again, like repetition, right? How many times did you have to hear it before you got in there? But the idea being that this isn't a product. Art is not a product that people need until you make them need it, right? So for some products, the value is already inherently understood in the mind of the consumer or the mind of the market. For instance, the market understands the relative value of a hammer.
MC hammer?
MC hammer. No, not hammer. Hammer time. Right, no, a hammer. Different. Like I'm going to pound a nail like a hammer. And people from time to time, even guys like me, like I am not a do-it-yourselfer. I'm a get someone elser. But guess what? Yeah. I own a couple hammers, actually, because I own one and I use it so infrequently I can't find it. But I had a desperate need for a hammer. So guess what I did? I went to Home Depot and bought another freaking hammer because I needed it. And then, months later, I stumbled across a bag of, oh, crap, here. Oh, look, here's that hammer that I had. Do I need 2 hammers? No. But do I own 2 hammers? No, I own 3. Why? Because I had a need for them and I couldn't immediately find the hammer. And so I went and spent a couple bucks on a freaking hammer because I needed one. And I understand the value of a hammer. Now, think about that, right? In this scenario, the marketplace can absolutely comprehend the value of this tool and the value that it will bring them. And because we often have this need for hammers, there's a certain amount of money every year that is going to be spent on hammers. So put that in the form of a pie chart. So if you're going to create a new brand of a hammer, and you have some kind of marketing sense, you can begin to make a dent, as little or as big as you want, in that universe with decent marketing.
Even with hammers are good at making dents.
Yeah, right. Hammers are good at making dents. You know this.
My thumb all the time. Yes.
And some hammers are used to remove dents, but I digress. Okay.
Anyway.
So, but think about this: if you created a new brand of hammer, and then you had the wherewithal to have a relationship with a distributor, like Home Depot. And you could get Home Depot to say, yes, we're going to put your hammer in our store. That would be the biggest coup of this. That would change your life forever. Just having distribution in Home Depot for a new brand of hammer means you're going to make millions of dollars because your hammer is going to be there when people need to go and get it. Right? It's going to be there. It's going to be the one they look at. Let's take another example. How about a street vendor in a big city like New York selling cheap umbrellas? They're really not there when the sun's around. But when they know there's a storm coming, there's a ton of vendors out there selling these cheap $5 umbrellas. And so we know as a consumer, holy crap, we didn't expect the storm to roll in. We got caught without an umbrella. We're happy to pay the $5 or the $10 for the umbrella. We're not even really that concerned about the quality of it.
Right.
Or the brand, or am I going to look cool wearing it? All I need is this, when I open this thing right now, until I get to my car, or until I get to the cab, or until I get to the subway, it's just going to keep the rain off my head. And, the same could be said about other commodities or products that have a very definite value in the eyes of the consumer. How about gasoline, clothing, food, cars? These are things we need in society on a regular basis. Some of them we repurchase more than others, but the need is real for every single one, and everyone understands the value of these products. They understand they need these products. Once a consumer knows that they need it, then the value, the price they pay is just another stage of the sort of purchase game, right? Like it can be, is it a commodity? Is it something like milk where, you're going to just have to compete on price because that's what the definition of commodity is, right?
Right.
Or is it a product that dictates a certain social status where the price could be higher? The difference between a Geo Metro and a BMW, right?
They'll both get you to work.
Both are going to get you to work, but hey, this one means I make more money than you. And that's why I pay for the BMW. It's also, by the way, a better product. There's no doubt about it. It's going to last longer. You go longer without oil changes, blah, 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 blah. But hey, you don't need to pay that to get from point A to point B, right?
Right.
But how much different is it in the world of music and art?
Way.
If you ask 1,000 people if they need new music, they're going to tell you they're all set up.
I've never said, "Oh my gosh, I gotta have a new song." Oh, let me run on iTunes and grab one.
Find something I've never heard of. Yeah, exactly.
Like your hammer. And the next thing I know, I don't have one new song. I have 3. Why? Because another time I needed a new song and I didn't have one, and I had to run to iTunes and download it quickly. Whew.
Silly as that sounds, how many artists they cross those two things over? Because they're coming at it from. I get why they're coming at it. They're coming at it from they're trying to come at it from a marketing mind, but they're not understanding the difference in the marketing of art. With music, the art in marketing is creating value in something that nobody needs.
Yeah,
I'm going to say that one more time. With music, the art in marketing is creating value in something that nobody needs. The art of music marketing is creating a buzz. If distribution was all that was required, like with your hammer, if you can get distribution with Home Depot or Lowe's or a chain like that, you're guaranteed a certain amount of sales.
Yeah.
Boom. Period.
Every shelf and end cap has a monetary value and if you don't sell, they'll get rid of you and put someone on there that will.
Right. And you would just have to suck. Like your hammer just has to work. Right. But
hit stuff.
Just hit stuff and make that thing go in. But if you think about it, like you don't just upload your song to iTunes and experience a massive increase in sales, like if you put your hammer in Home Depot.
Yeah.
And how many people listening to my voice right now have experienced that? Right? And
we're not talking about the hammer.
Yeah. So as artists, if we think that if we make compelling music, we'll get a couple people to listen to it and they'll love it, and then they'll tell 2 friends, and then they'll tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on. That's going to create the brand. Is that the answer? Yes and no. It's not that simple. It's not exactly the way that it happens. At least not at first. You need to reach a sort of critical mass before that happens. You must continue to build the buzz until you reach a certain critical mass, and then the brand sort of begins to take on a life of its own. The song sort of begins to take on a life of its own. Until then, you're not done working, okay? And by the way, when the critical mass does happen, you're not done working either. It's just the job descriptions change a little bit, right, to keep it going. By the time that most of us as consumers hop on board with most music or artist brands, the critical mass has already been achieved. Therefore, like your experience as a consumer was that your buddy turned you on to this because it was really cool, and then very soon after that, you saw it somewhere else, right? You heard it on the radio, you saw it on a billboard, you saw it on a bus, they were on TV, they were on the Late Show, they were on the Morning Show, they were on this, they were on that. Like all of a sudden, they're kind of everywhere, and they're in your existence, like from a lot of different places, right? They're in Rolling Stone, they're in Spin. You're like, what just happened? Like, this is incredible. And so it feels like it all happens like that, but that's after critical mass, right?
Right.
Now, did you experience any of that, Brent, with, like, your biggest hit was, would you say
Monday Morning Church.
Monday Morning Church. So,
yeah.
So what point did you feel as a writer that song sort of took on a life of its own? Was there a point that was discernible to you where you were like, okay, this is really turning into something?
Gosh, I mean, it moved up the chart pretty quick. I mean, so, there's it had nothing going on until Alan cut it. People weren't fighting over it. So
and keep in mind, by the way, so this is Alan Jackson that already had a brand name at this point. Like, how many hits did he have before your hit?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was probably better before he released my song. But, yeah, it was. It still has a great brand. But, yeah, he's like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time he, recorded the song. So it was a very different thing. It wasn't a new artist trying to get some notice. He debuted the song on the freaking CMA Awards.
Yeah.
With Ronnie Dunn introducing, here's Alan Jackson with a heartbreaking song called Monday Morning Church. Then here comes Alan with Patty Loveless on stage singing it. Little different than, most new artists. You couldn't even
hear the song over this, the ka-ching sound that was going
it was
off the room.
It was pretty cool. I was there. I was at the CMA Awards. But anyway, so yeah, that was, I think it was right before it came out as a single or like right as it was coming out because it was released in the fall right in like award season. So that's where he kind of nationally debuted it. And so, hearing it on the radio, of course, was a huge thing, and just getting to watch it climb up the charts and peak at number 4. But anyway, so
all right.
darn you, Brad Paisley and Gretchen Wilson and Rascal Flatts. But anyway, yeah, it's all right. Those were all good songs.
But so that's critical mass right there. I mean, that's where now it's obviously it's a lot easier with an artist that has a brand name because they're going to get all those spins. They're going to get all that reach on radio. And they're going to get all the frequency and the heavy rotation of the song. And when they announce it on the CMAs, and every single radio program director is watching the CMAs because that's what's going on. That's part of their business. It's almost part of their job description. They better be watching that to a degree, right?
Yeah.
Then to see what's new and what's happening then. So it gets pushed right in there. But when the awareness is in the marketplace is that rampant, it's because the reach and the frequency are sufficient. But what I want to do is I want to break down the reality of the climb, if you will, of a brand, right? So let's take Def Leppard. So their first record that they recorded was called On Through the Night. And it did okay. It got a few radio spins. It actually reached the top 15 in the UK. But it wasn't enough to blow up the stratosphere on their very first record, right? So this kind of goes back to also managing expectations, like being realistic about what it takes to create value in art and to create value in a brand that creates art. For in this case, Def Leppard would be the brand, they create the art. So first record, they get a top 15. Hey, that sounds exciting. That's great. I mean, they sell a few records. It's not enough. They're in debt with the record label, which is typically the way that it would happen. This is in the heyday of the record industry, by the way, early 80s, right? And by the way, it created the opposite. So a little sidebar here, a little value bomb. There's a small group of early adopter fans who loved Def Leppard and, from that very first record. But there's also a pretty strong legion of haters who shunned the band because they thought they were trying too hard to appeal to America as a British band because their first single was Hello America. And so takeaway, don't worry about the haters, right? Because we all know at the end of the story, Def Leppard turns out okay, right?
Yeah, they did all right. America said hello back.
Right,
yeah.
America said hello back, but not until the second record. And that was just a whisper. Okay, second record was High and Dry. They switched producers to Mutt Lange and recorded High and Dry. And the first single fared about as well as the first single, as the singles from the first record, from On Through the Night. But the second single was Bringing on the Heartbreak, which began to create momentum And mostly it was because for whatever reason, this song was loved by MTV. And MTV put it in regular rotation, which was huge for reach across the whole country. One video, one spin got a lot more views than even one spin, let's say in New York at the Drive at 5, which would be prior to MTV, the biggest reach you could get.
Yeah.
Right? Like from one entity, let's say.
Right, yeah.
Does that make sense?
One spin. Yeah.
So, and of course, MTV regular rotation in 1981 equals massive reach plus massive frequency, which made the song more popular, which made it far more attractive and more sexy for terrestrial radio. And so that coupled with they toured and they opened up for Ozzy and they opened up for Blackfoot, and that gave them a lot more reach. Right. And they got in front of a lot more new people, which is important, like new people, not the same old people, not the same old people who already subscribe to your YouTube channel, not the same old people who are already subscribed, already like your Facebook page or already follow you on Instagram. These are new people that got on board. Right. And even though the record was distributed everywhere, guess what? People weren't shopping for Def Leppard with that big hit, for the most part, like they were shopping for Hammers until after they were exposed to the band enough times. It wasn't just about being exposed once. They needed to be exposed a bunch. They hear that song a bunch, right? So, again, because of MTV, the song received a lot more terrestrial radio airplay. It got a lot more exposure. But guess what? At the end of the day, when the dust settled in 1981 on, High and Dry, the second effort that was the first Mutt Lange produced Def Leppard record, only sold 250,000 copies.
Wow.
But they built the brand. The brand was bigger than it was on the first record. And after the first record, the brand was bigger than it was before the first record.
Right, yeah.
There were nobody. So you've got to think about it like that. So the third effort, Pyromania, now is released to a much larger waiting audience than High and Dry, but they still weren't a critical mass, right? But the production on Pyromania now, this is like a groundbreaking record. This is the first time that super slick Mutt Lange production came into effect, and it blew everybody's minds. The songs were amazing because Mutt Lange was, where he produced High and Dry, he was much more involved in the songwriting as well on Pyromania, so the songs were a lot more towards the pop metal angle, and the band had really gotten the hang of songwriting over the last two records, and they exploded. MTV already liked them, right? So they were waiting. Radio already liked them. So now this was the one that really blew up. Three records though. 3 records it took to create value in that art. Over 1980, 1981 to I think 1984, Pyromania came out. Or 83. It's a long time to create the value in the art. And then they were huge. But most people, guess what? Guess what? The masses came on at Pyromania.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So all they see is Pyromania.
Yeah.
Right? So it's completely different than Hammer sales, right? So, how many new people are exposed to you as an artist with your music every day? Most of you emulate your favorite artists on social media by creating like a cool sort of backstage pass into your life, and you see that a lot, Brent, and that's a really good function of social media for an artist. But how many new people are discovering you with this approach to social media? You need to continually grow your social media accounts as well as provide the content. That's what we do at Daredevil. We expose our artists to new people all the time, right? And a small percentage of those new people are going to like that artist because we're fishing from the right pond, and then very slowly it grows the band. This is the difference between using social media as a cool connection tool and then as a marketing tool to gain new fans, not just service the existing fans. And both approaches are important, but the latter is almost always ignored by indie artists. So you can expand your reach every day. You have worldwide reach on your social media. And again, we've talked about this before, Brent, YouTube strategy. If you're putting up crusty old covers of your favorite songs, God bless, that's great. But the only people that are ever going to see them are your current fans.
Right.
Nobody new's looking for that. So how's that strategy getting you into growth? It's not expanding your brand. And current cover hits are what's going to create massive traffic. Some of these people are just going to stumble across your version, and if you're compelling, like our friend Jason Wilkes, who blows your mind, you're going to gain some new fans, and you're going to do it again and again every single day that you do it. So,
by the way, I think the audio cut out just for a second, and it sounded like you just said Jason blows.
Oh, Jason Wilkes. And
Jason Wilkes blows your mind.
Blows your mind, yes, exactly.
It's not like the audio cut out just for a second. Just looking out for you, Jason.
Oh, God. I would be mortified if you thought that. No, he blows your mind.
Anyway,
you watch this guy, he's freaking incredible. Like, in his interpretation of anything is fantastic. And he's adopted this, YouTube strategy that we talk about with Daredevil. And he's, by the way, doing it himself. I'm not doing it. He's just like, I'm gonna do it. He committed to it mentally and then just hit it. So when you grow sufficiently that the fan base is large enough to begin to take over, you can reach a certain level of critical mass, and then your music has value in the marketplace. And that's when, guess what? You get the respect from managers, industry, booking agents. Everybody starts to get interested in you because there's something going on. But yeah, is it about the music? Yes, they're responding to the music because the music is good, but you have to create the value in the music, and everybody else responds to the value in the music. And I think too many artists are saying, my music has value because I think so, and you should think so too, and until you think so, I'm not going to do anything about it, right?
Right. You're wrong if you don't think my music has value.
Yeah. So, if you keep taking that approach, then you're gonna starve. You've got to create the value in the music. You have to be the self-starter. You've got to get the ball rolling. And I promise you, I know this from just from dealing with other influencer marketing companies and them sending me links of, hey, here's why we want some of your artists who we think are influencers we want to pay them to do this. Here's some other links that we did because they want to give me ideas of what these other posts were. And I look at these other links. There's people that have huge audiences for just being horrific, vulgar, they're just fucking crazy. Excuse me, they're crazy. They're like, I just look at this.
About vulgar?
This is insanity, right? I'm like, why does this person have 300,000 followers? Because they did something bananas on Instagram. But guess what? They have an audience. They get paid. You have an audience. You'll get paid. Period. End of story. So that's all I got for today.
Well, there we go. What? That's only like 27 minutes.
I know it's short for me. But anyway, listen, guys. So, hey, if you don't have the free Twitter book already, it's a best-selling book on Amazon. It's for beginners. It just demystifies Twitter and teaches you how to use it as a marketing tool. It's a tour through the app, and it shows you how to gain 1,000 new targeted followers every single month for just 15 minutes a day. It shows you how to expand your audience. It's totally free. Just go to giftfromjohnny.com, JOHNNY, giftfromjohnny.com. And if you're stuck, if you reach a certain part where you really need some one-on-one guidance, I'm available for that. Give me a call. We do consulting calls. We do charge for this, but you would be amazed at what we can accomplish in less than 2 hours. And I will go through all of your social media accounts, your website, your web store, anything else that you've got going on your YouTube channel, and put together a strategy for you to follow and give you some direction. Here's what you need to do. Your first day at work, you know what to do because everybody tells you what to do. I'm going to help you out with that. So anyway, hey guys, once again, we want you to win. That's why this podcast exists. We hope you found this beneficial. Please share it. Please leave a comment, a rating and review on iTunes, and keep reaching for the I keep saying keep reaching for the stars. I want to be
Casey Kasem.
I want to be Casey Kasem.
Top 40.
Keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top 40.